All right, folks, back at you with another video. I have a few of you guys that follow me that are type 1 diabetic or type 2 diabetic, and some of you guys are curious as to how I was able to manage my diabetes while at the academy, which is an awesome question because I've been a diabetic myself for a long time. I'm a type 1, for those of you that don't know, and even with the condition that I have, I'm still able to live a very active, very healthy lifestyle, which is very essential, especially for law enforcement specifically. And that could be for Border Patrol or any other law enforcement agency that you're trying to go through or get into. It's very crucial. So I'm actually here to touch up on two things that can help you get through the Border Patrol Academy or even any other law enforcement academy in general. So number one is gonna be checking my sugars regularly. And that's something that I set for myself that I routinely schedule. So typically in the morning, first thing when I get up, I will test my sugar. And depending on where it's at, normally my sugars have been pretty good. So I haven't really had to give myself any insulin. I haven't had any low blood sugars. Like, in fact, I haven't really experienced any bad glucose levels, whether that was being low blood sugar levels or high blood sugar levels. And that's just because I test first thing in the morning. And then of course, like every 2 hours, I'm checking my sugars. So, and it doesn't matter like if I have a meal, like obviously and usually at the academy I was eating about 3 to 5 meals a day. So, and I would always test my sugars before, and then usually an hour after every meal I was testing as well. So, and then of course like every 2 hours in between classes or any sort of events I had going on, I would try to test before that class or event, and then when we would have a break, I would test during the break, and then of course after. And sometimes it was kind of rocky because there's just a lot going on while you're going through the academy, because you're constantly moving in between classes. There's a lot going on. So but it only runs each day, like Monday through Friday. It's only 8 hours a day. So even then, like I wasn't worried about it, and I was always able to set my times and have my schedule to where I knew exactly what time I was going to test, and I knew exactly how to correct it. And that's another thing, is carry the essentials with you. So you want to carry your PDM, your insulin with you at all times, and also make sure you carry like some carbohydrates with you, whether that would be some Gatorade, some crackers, protein bars, or some kind of high sugar snack that can, like, just in case if shit hits the fan and let's say you're going through PT, or you're doing something in tactics or whatever the hell you're doing, and you start to feel a little funny. You're like, oh shit, my sugar's running low. You test it, it's low. You have something with you, put it in your backpack, or you can put it in one of your pockets and stuff too. Like I actually would carry protein bars and stuff like that in my pockets, and I still do, like even being in the field right now. Like I carry protein bars with me in my pockets, and in my backpack or camelback, I'll carry other snacks. And then I have, fast acting glucose, like the gels. That's been very useful as well. And again, I've probably only experienced maybe 2 low blood sugars while at the academy. And funny enough, that was actually on my off days. So, but everyone's experience is different. Like there's plenty of diabetics that have gone through it, that have been successful through it, and they've been able to manage it, and I know I've been able to manage it. And so that brings me to my second point, staying active. So that's a good thing, because your insulin is what is going to regulate your sugar from staying level. from not going too low and not going too high. It's going to keep it right where it needs to be. And staying active actually does the same thing, because as you're moving throughout the day, your metabolism is running. So you're gonna be able to keep your metabolism running as well, and you're gonna keep your sugars stabilized, because the activity also affects your glucose levels. You know, especially like after you eat, you have like breakfast, lunch, or dinner, snack, whatever. You are going to be moving around in, like I said, you're going to be moving around in between classes, and even like after your lunch and whatnot too. You're going to be walking. You may be, you know, having you're be doing an event or getting into a class where you are being active, whether that's PT, tactics, or, you know, whatever it may be. You're gonna be constantly active, but also not only active at the academy, but outside of it, you know, because you want to be able to continue to work out. You want to be able to continue to get stronger. You want to be able to continue to get faster. You want to be able to perform the way you should be performing. So, and that goes across the board. Not in Border Patrol is really big on that. And that's in every law enforcement agency is huge on that, you know, because you don't want to have troubles balancing your sugars and having to worry about having high glucose levels or low glucose levels because you're not being active. So whatever works for you outside of what training you're doing at the academy, do that training and just stay active. I mean, shit, you could walk for like 20 minutes, 60 minutes a day, and that'll set the tone. A little bit of something outside of what you're already doing is going to make a big difference. So these are the two major things that have really helped me out a lot. And they continue to help me out, because even being in the field right now, I'm still active. I have a routine where I go to the gym in the morning and I go to work, and then I come back and I kind of have my off time. And then of course, you know, if there's a day where my schedule switches up, you know, I'll have work and then I'll work out after. So I'm constantly being active throughout the day. I'm constantly monitoring what I need to monitor, and I have my essentials with me. So doing those things is going to set you up for success. And it's also going to give you peace of mind, because I know I've had moments where, you know, and not every day was perfect. You know, there was days at the academy where I was kind of scrambling, and like, you know, I had an episode where my sugars were starting to run a little bit high and whatnot. And I was going to PT, and I can just feel my sugar just rising. And this was right before, because this was after a lunch break, and we were going right to PT. And so I was going, and as I was putting on my PT gear, switching out of my uniforms, I was like, fuck. I'm starting to feel the effects of it, because you can kind of start to feel it a little bit. Like, you kind of feel funky. Your muscles start to feel like a little crampy. So thankfully enough, like, because I always give myself my insulin through my PDM, but what I ended up doing is that I actually ended up having an extra syringe in my backpack, just in case, because I know with the PDM that I have, sometimes, like, it's kind of an older device, so it's pretty known for just the battery just running out. So the battery actually ran out on my PDM device. But thankfully I had a syringe in my pocket, in my backpack. So I was able to give myself some insulin and bring my sugar down a little bit. And then of course when I went to PT, it balanced out, because you're just active. PT, you're just you're just doing all kinds of workouts and just hammering it out. And I was able to be okay after that. And then, of course, when I got back to my dorm, I was able to charge up my PDM and I was fine. But that's an example of just having the essentials with you and just, being set, and not having to worry. Like, because I knew that I had that syringe, or I had a package of syringes in my backpack, or just in case of the pod, because I was aware that the pod would run low, or the PDM device would run low. And so having the syringes on standby was pretty much my backup. So it's little things like that that will set you up for success and give you that peace of mind you need, so that way you won't stress out. But just whatever you have, whether you're PDM or using pens or in regular injections or whatever the case, or your pills or whatever, make sure you have all that stuff with you on standby. Have all the essentials and stuff for your low sugars, everything you need, and keep staying active. And I guarantee that you will be successful throughout your academy. And of course, the door is always open. If you guys have any more questions, please hit my DMs or comment below on this video. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Peace.